Hello and welcome. My name is Andy Solkeld, and this is the first research study of my PhD. I'm researching how organisational financing, that is, how our businesses are funded, how the finance teams operate, and how we perceive finance within our businesses, how all of that can affect us as individuals working within those businesses, specifically our levels of burnout, stress, job satisfaction, and job insecurity. Now, burnout and work stress have worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic. People are working longer hours, experiencing higher levels of burnout, and are struggling with an inability to unplug. The downstream impact on individuals' mental health and in turn on their productivity is well documented. So understanding how different parts of different businesses can impact this can potentially allow us to build better businesses for everyone involved, both organisation and individual. Now, researching finance within psychology is quite niche. Luckily, I'm also a chartered accountant, so I have a bit of knowledge and experience on my side. But to make this a bit more accessible, let me give you some examples of what I'm thinking about when I talk about organisational financing and individual psychology. So, when a colleague leaves one of our teams, a decision is often made to recruit an equal replacement, recruit a junior and train them up, or sometimes to not recruit at all, amongst other possibilities. The decision point is often financially motivated. However, the impact of, say, not recruiting could result in an increased workload for the remainder of the team, which could result in more stress, more burnout, and their overall well-being could decline, and then in turn also their productivity. How about when you need to submit an expenses claim, or need to apply for capital expenditure approval, maybe a grant application, something similar? You put your heart and soul into a document and have it declined by finance as a result of financing availability. Sometimes you may get a reason, sometimes it's just a finance said no sort of moment. Now, how do you feel as a result of that? Now, what if it wasn't, say, an internal application? What if it was a pitch to win revenue and you lost to competition? How does that impact you as an individual? What happens what happens to you if that happens repeatedly? Also, what happens if jobs within your organisation are lost as a result of missed revenue? How is that affecting you? Finally, another more conceptual question. You're at work and you walk past the finance team, and they're obviously stressed. They're working long hours, finishing after everyone else, starting first thing in the morning before everyone else. Do you feel better knowing that they're working hard? Or do you feel worse because they might be addressing a financial crisis that you're unaware of? Now, finance touches all parts of our businesses and is arguably a culture embedding mechanism that can define and set the tone of culture within an organisation, impacting the way people think, the way they feel, and the way they can act. And I want to understand how. So if you're interested in helping me with this research, there's a link in the description below and on my website, which will also be in the description. You can help me as an individual simply by completing the online questionnaire. It'll take about 15 minutes to complete. You'll be asked some questions about yourself, your company, financing at your company, what you perceive within your organisation, and then about your levels of stress and burnout, etc. It's all confidential and anonymous. There is a detailed information page at the start, but if you do have any questions, please feel to reach out to me. But importantly and quite interestingly, you can also help me as a company. If your company is interested in taking part in the study, I can create a bespoke link for you and your employees to complete the same questionnaire as everyone else. But what that allows me to do is to separate out your company's data into a case study, provide your organisation with a summarised snapshot of what is perceived within the company, how people are doing on average with regards to stress, burnout, and importantly for the finance directors and CFOs among you who are listening, how people perceive your finance team and how finance operates. Clearly, anonymity and confidentiality are paramount throughout this, so you will only be able to receive anonymized, summarized data, but the insight might be able to help you develop the way your teams interact with the rest of the organization. So if you're interested in doing this, simply reach out to me on any of the social media channels I have, via email, via my website. I'll link to all of these in the description, but it gives you the opportunity to get some insight that you might not otherwise easily have access to. I've created a web page that explains all of this. It's got summaries of everything I've said here, links to the background for my confirmation of registration, links to the measures I'm using, full list of references, should you be interested in finding out more about what I'm doing in general, beyond just this first study, but also some of the other science that has gone into kind of building this up. Before I go, I just want to emphasize the following few things. Firstly, taking part is entirely voluntary, will not affect the results of my PhD. There is no obligation to take part at all. If you would like to help as either an individual or a company, I'd be incredibly thankful, but do so because you choose and not otherwise. Secondly, anonymity and confidentiality are central to my research. You'll only be identifiable by a participant ID number, and whilst you'll be asked some questions about yourself, you should not be identifiable in any way by your responses, and the same goes for your organisation. For reference, I'm based at Leeds Beckett University. I follow the British Psychological Society Code of Ethics. I'm also a chartered accountant and follow the ICAW's Code of Ethics. Basically, I have my participants' best interests in mind when designing this study and when analysing and reporting the data from it. I'd love it if you and your company would choose to take part. Please feel free to reach out to me on any of the channels I've mentioned. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you very much.